Welcome back, and our special guest in the studio today is Gail Beagin. She heads up Child Evangelism Fellowship, and I want to tell you, this is a terrific program here in Southern Oregon, and we're going to talk to Gail a little bit more about it. Gail, thanks for coming in today.
You're welcome.
Keeping you busy, huh?
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, tell us, first of all, give us our audience a little bit of an update. What is Child Evangelism Fellowship?
Child Evangelism Fellowship is a group of believers who have a burden to reach children with the message of Jesus Christ and His love for them and what He's done for them.
And how do you go about this?
Our primary ministry is called Good News Club.
Yeah.
That's a weekly Bible club, and God has opened the door here in Oregon for us to go into the public schools and for an hour and a half to teach children, to love on them, to see them grow in their faith.
Wow.
And to just be there for them.
You know, and that in itself is quite a remarkable thing to have that door open.
It is.
Now, do you go into the campus or they come out to you? How does this work?
It depends on, there's two ways that this works. One is release time class, where they come out during the school day, and that is for a limited amount of time, 45 minutes. The other way is after school, and we are on the campus after school. And we can go from an hour to an hour and a half with those clubs.
All right, now how do you kind of let the parents know that this is available, and how would they get their child released to go do this?
Well, in certain districts, they allow us to put our permission slip flyer into the Friday envelope.
Oh, wow.
So each parent gets one. In other districts, it basically starts out where we are a presence at the open house in the beginning of the year, and we pass them out there. And then the children, by word of mouth, and the parents who have their kids in club tell others.
So if the school allows it in, then the kids can be released to do it.
Right.
Okay.
It's a right that the parent has.
So how can we help you? What are your needs? How can the community get involved in this?
One of the things that we do need, of course, with each school, and we had 23 last year.
Wow.
We need volunteers.
Huh?
Because a team has to go in, especially with the after school. You have to have at least 5 people, 2 of those teachers, and then helpers, and always a need for new volunteers.
So do you train them?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have bi-weekly training, and that's offered. And I also can, as a church adopts a club, I will go to that church and train the people there.
Okay. How do they get a hold of you to do this?
They can get a hold of me at 772.
I better write this down because I'm going to get in there. All right, 772
8520.
8520. And that's Gail Beagin.
Yes.
I want to come back to, tell us what's happening in there. What happens to these kids? How are they changed?
Well, in my own experience, as I've been teaching clubs since 1990,
Wow.
The Lord has brought children who will challenge you in the beginning of the year.
You're very
And
diplomatic.
as you go throughout the year,
Yeah.
you see that they are actually hearing the word, they're taking it to heart, and God is working in them to bring about those changes, and He's working in me too, to love them, and with His kind of love, that unconditional love.
Wow. Do kids kind of pick up on this and become little evangelists themselves?
Yes. We actually have a tool called the Flipper Flapper.
Flipper Flapper.
And that is the tool they designed, Child Evangelism designed, for children to share the gospel with their peers using that. And it's colors. It's just like the wordless book colors.
Huh.
And that's how we share the gospel with the children, through colors. The gold page, we talk about the love of God, and the dark page, our condition of sin, and the red page, Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, taking our punishment.
How do young people perceive the subject of sin?
Well, it's interesting. In our day and age, a lot of them have never heard that word before, so it's very important that we share from God's word what He says sin is. And when you ask them for examples, they will always, once they understand what that word means, they will come up with examples.
Wow. You know, I think that is so neat. Again, we're talking to Gail Beagin about Child Evangelism Fellowship, and this would be a great way for you to prayerfully consider serving. They do need some volunteers. It is being accepted in public schools. This is a tremendous tool because you and I both know that you get it into the heart of a child, it's there for life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's right.
and that's the goal. And it's, do you get kids that have no idea who God is and what it's all about?
Yes. In our day and age, yes, we do get children who
So
have
you're not
no clue.
necessarily getting the child from a Christian home.
No. And that's, in our audience of children, we always keep in mind we are speaking to two groups, the saved and the unsaved.
Mm-hmm.
We will get some kids that do attend church. We don't always make the assumption that they're saved because they attend church.
Yeah.
So we evangelize the unsaved and we disciple the saved child. That's in every Good News Club. That is our objective.
The kids have to ask tough questions.
Yes, they do.
And you do what?
And it's okay to say, I don't know the answer to that, but I will get back to you next week.
Okay. Do you get into moral issues? I mean, I realize sin is there, but I mean,
Yes.
Do you get into some of the issues of the day?
Oh, yes. I recall a time when I was teaching about Joseph and Potiphar's wife, and there were two young ladies kind of on the edge of that club that day. We were actually in a driveway of an apartment complex. And I found out later that they were living in a situation and had grown up in that situation where that's all they knew.
Wow.
And they were very surprised to find out that what Potiphar's wife wanted from Joseph was a sin.
Wow. Wow. So therefore, you are really making a huge impression on these young people.
Mm-hmm.
How does a non-believer experience the love of God? How do they perceive that?
Well, some of them reject it. You know, they don't think that God could truly love them because...
But you have to deal with the premise that there is a God.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And it depends, of course, on their situation, how they're living, what they've been raised in.
Mm-hmm.
There are, most of the children readily accept the love of God because they love to hear that. You know,
Yeah.
God made me and He loves me. And when you get to the part where you're separated from God because of sin, they are attentive to find out, well, how can that change?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the good news, the love of Jesus and His death.
What a powerful, powerful work. And what an incredible opportunity. All right, you're in 27 schools?
23 schools.
23, okay.
And one community center.
And a community center.
Uh-huh.
Are more schools asking for you to come?
Yes, we could be in more schools if we had more volunteers.
All right, so just a few moments we have left. Tell somebody what they'll go through if they decide to volunteer.
Okay, if you decide to volunteer, you would set up an appointment with me, and we would talk about what your strengths are, where you see your giftings, and then depending on where you live and the clubs in your area, I could plug you into a club as a helper or a teacher. That, of course, depends on you, what you want to step into. And then the second way is by a church adopting a school.
Oh.
For example, Community Bible Church in Central Point is going to adopt Central Point Elementary School.
Wonderful. And then supply the people to do
And
that.
supply the people to be a part of that teaching team.
And you're talking 1 day a week.
1 day a week.
So 45 minutes 1 day a week, roughly.
Roughly, yes.
Boy, all right, let me encourage you to give Gail a call, 772-8520. Again, that's 772-8520. Whether you as an individual want to volunteer and get involved in this, if you are a member of a church or you're a staff member of a church, this is a great idea. If we could get 4 or 5 more churches to sponsor a school
Yes.
and then supply the people for that. Gail, that's wonderful. Thank you for what you're doing. This is really, really encouraging. And I just want to say to our viewers and listeners, what an opportunity to serve. So get a hold of Gail, 772-8520. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you,
Okay,
Perry.
and just remember in your prayers, Child Evangelism Fellowship and Gail Beagin, she needs your prayers.
Amen.
And she needs your volunteer support, 772-8520. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.